So I don't have to introduce myself, thanks to Maiko. I'm just an entrepreneur. And when my friends from ChangeNOW asked me to join us today, they asked me to talk about impact and impact pioneers. But first, what is impact? It's interesting, just before coming on stage, I talked to a friend of mine saying, are you an impact fund? Or are you doing some impact? I'm sure if I'm asking you, your own definition of impact is different. But maybe it's not that different when we talk about impact pioneers. So I want just to, I want to play a game. It's the end of the week, so we're all good. Take your time. Let's play a game. Can you just share with me one name of your best impact pioneer? What? AI? Samuel. Oh, it's you? OK. We have the winner here. So who else? Eva Sadoun. Usually I'm always using Elon Musk or Bill Gates. What? Patagonia. Yves Chonière from Patagonia. It's a good one. What is interesting is, in the past, I think the past where I grew up, there was always a big difference between making money and doing good. And we work in this world where businesses were making profit when the civil society, means a lot of us, were trying to have impact. And I mentioned to you just those impact pioneers, the Yves, the Eva, and many others. I want to share something very different, a very different face. Again, a game. Who is this guy? Boom. No? Anyone? You went to, we went to colleges here. This guy was a rock star. He was the best, the best. At the time, the best economist. Milton Friedman. Yes? Remember what he said about ESG? What he said about just the real impact of any businesses. He said something like this. The worst about this, it was OK for us. Make profits, it's OK. Yes, but you give this to the shareholders, and the shareholders will do whatever they want with that money. And I grew up in a world where this was OK. Is that OK? I'm not sure. Is that OK? We boo, right? But that was the world of yesterday. The question is, how can we make a world different tomorrow? Another interesting guy. We grew up, all of us, in a world where finance and responsibility or positive finance will never go together. So the oxymoron, positive finance, is an oxymoron. How we can do something different? How can we prove that finance could be a force of good? So Maiko earlier mentioned Bliss. Bliss is not an impact fund, by the way. It's not an impact fund. Is a fund, is an investment firm. But yes, we do invest differently. We do invest differently, but this kind of investment should be the norm, not the exception. So yes, we became one of the first B Corp investment firm in the world. Should be normal. Should be the first. Everyone, when we do investment, should be very similar. And that's the alignments. We need to be aligned when we say something and when we do something. For so many years, we were saying something, and we were doing something very different. And that's what we say at Bliss, internally and externally. And if we are not aligned between what we do on a daily basis, internally, and what we do externally, that will be a big issue. So to be very practical, what we do internally. I mentioned earlier, we became one of the first B Corp. More than this, everyone working at Bliss is OK to give away 20% of the carry. So, and I can tell you, when she's OK, they are very OK. they're not very happy doing so. They are giving 5% of their time every month. So it's more than one day to nonprofits, not to go, they can come to ChangeNOW for sure. It won't be counted in those 5%. But this is important because that's the alignment. Then externally, how can we deal with this? Maiko mentioned Too Good To Go as an investment. When we have the conversation with those entrepreneurs, those amazing entrepreneurs building new businesses, we are asking them to add some specific clauses in the contract. One is about the ESG assessment. So it's not something we shouldn't be discussing. Said it has to be there at the very start. And every 12 to 18 months, we want these assessments. You can become B Corp. We're not saying is something that you have to become. But this assessment about what you do is important to know. And by the way, we want this to be discussed at the board level twice a year. I'm sure, who is an entrepreneur here? Just can you raise your hand, entrepreneurs? Yeah, many. Investors? A few? Yeah, many as well. I think that's important. Most of the time we are talking about those subjects, but it could be a cancel somewhere where we need to talk about impact. It has to be at the board level. Every single important decision is made at the board level. Why not those impact conversations? Then, in terms of diversity, very similar. We won't change this world in terms of how diverse it will become, it should become, if we don't put some clear and very defined clauses. And in our case, we're asking those entrepreneurs to add in the contract the fact that if we invest, if we back those entrepreneurs, we really deeply want that anyone will be hired in the future should just be seen with this diversity lens. When we say about externally, when you are an investor, I'm an entrepreneur and investor, but with my investor hat, I need to raise money. So all the investors here, I think everyone here has to raise money, right? No? Yes. It's hard, right? Yes, it's hard. But we have to. But the good thing is, what kind of investors you want in your business, right? And sometimes we don't have the choice. Sometimes we need money. I need to pay the bill. But when you are able to raise money and to define the kind of investors you want, then that's something interesting. And that's what we do at Bliss. We believe, and we strongly believe, that if we want to make good choices, we also need to have the right investors, even as LPs. I mentioned Too Good To Go. If I'm with you during my due diligence with Too Good To Go in Copenhagen, I remember being with Mette, the CEO of Too Good To Go. And the second question Mette asked us, it was about our LP base. She asked us, Alex, can you share with me your LPs? For her, it was as important as how smart we are or a good investor we were in the past. Who are you bringing with you within this safe haven as Too Good To Go? So, no more slide. No more slide. OK. So I pushed two. Talking about the impact pioneers. Do you know this guy? Musa Kamara. So I mentioned the 5% of Bliss employees giving to nonprofit. They're giving 5% to a few organizations, including Les Déterminés. It's a French organization led by Musa, who is a true impact pioneer. And Les Déterminés is an organization helping entrepreneurs coming from the underserved and underprivileged communities to become entrepreneurs, like some or most of you guys. And that's with a clear impact. Keep showing good friends. Easy one, because this is across Europe. Too much interaction, maybe? And it's hard. It's like, I don't want you to see you playing on your phones. I'm trying to make you be part of this conversation. Wonderful lady, wonderful woman, super active, mission-driven. Lucy Bash from Too Good To Go. Who has been ever used Too Good To Go here? Yeah, it's crazy. So you're among 75 million users. 17 countries across Europe is the #1 in terms of food waste. What is interesting about this impact pioneer? It's very successful. It's not only doing impact saying it's good because we have an impact on the world, but it doesn't work. Last year, they made $100 million of revenues. So we are able to prove that point. You can do good, and you can do well. It's not just one or the other things. And that is very important. And they, by the way, they are making money. It's interesting. Interesting concept, in a way. C'est qui le patron? Who's French here? Can you raise your hand again? OK, a mix. So we've never bought a bottle of milk from C'est qui le patron? And why? Why? It's not cheaper. Why? There is a mission. It's not cheaper at the same price. So 5 years ago, for the ones who don't know C'est qui le patron, they started. I need to see. I have only 6 minutes left, so I can stay here forever. So I'm going to end up. But C'est qui le patron? They said very clearly, we need to do something different for the farmers. Their life is most of the time miserable because they have no vacation. No vacation. They're working 365 days a year. No vacation, no money. And then there are many issues, as you can imagine, with no vacation and no money. And they said we should pay them better price. They said to pay them 4 cents more. A liter of milk is €1. For just giving them 4 cents more, we need to cut off sales reps and we need to cut off communication. They did so. It became the first milk brand in France with no communication. Why? Because you, the ones who raise the hands, you are buying this product because it's aligned with what you think is important in your life. What that means? It means that we can change things because we believe strongly in something. And it's interesting because we have this in my pocket here somewhere, my credit card. And we all have a credit card, so we can do this. Another one, Julie. A lot of women here, Julie Chapon, Yuka. 36 million users, Yuka. 92% people are taking a product, scanning Yuka in the grocery, in the grocery store, will put the product back if it's not Yuka, Yuka just aligned. 92%. So all the A, B, C, D, and E, they have changed the world. It changed the way we buy product. I'm sure not only the moms here, I know this with my wife. She look at the A, I'm looking less on the A or B, still is important for everyone now. And the last one, someone we all love, Christian. We're still searching on Google today, here. I'm not talking about Bard. I think Bard will revolution everything. But who's using Ecosia here? We should all use the Ecosia. All use Ecosia. It's almost the same quality. And every time we search, we can plant a tree. Easy. We understand this. It's so easy. Why change it? Why not doing it? Because maybe you don't know. But the minute you know, you should change. The life is not easy, by the way. We know this. And I will show you this brand. It would be easy, right? If we can just switch from Google to Ecosia. It doesn't cost me much. Apple. Almost nothing, right? Profit, you remember? Taxes paid in France last year. What do you think? 0, 0? Not 0 would be bad. 4. Who believe or we think it's fair when you make 100 billion of profit when the world is suffering like this to only pay 4 million? Anyone? So now another question for you. Can you raise your hand if you have an iPhone in your pocket? Go. Look around you. That's what I was telling you. It's not easy and not perfect. I don't have an iPhone, but I'm not perfect by any means. This week, I bought twice on Amazon. I know. Don't repeat it. I know it's recorded, but still. Why? Because it was cheap or fast or more convenient, for sure. But I know it was not the right thing to do. I know because it's not the alignments I wanted. I'm not saying that we're all perfect. I'm not, you are not, sorry to say it. Still, we can do better. And all those brands who are not understanding this will lose. Because like the Too Good To Go, the Yuka, the C'est qui le patron, the Ecosia, we can have another option. The question is, and all you entrepreneurs here, you are building those other options. Sometimes they don't exist yet, but you will be building those other options. We're talking about product, because if we want to change the world, we need to have product. I cannot come to see you and change if I don't have something to share with you. Epic is a business I built just 8 years ago. It's a nonprofit. When I say business, you understand why. I was going after people saying, why you don't share more? Why keeping so much? There's something after your life here that you think will stay. People need this money now, so keep sharing more. And people didn't really understand this, or they were listening to me, but they were not acting, because we're just saying something with not a product. So I built Epic. And Epic is a nonprofit in 15 different countries around the world trying to achieve this goal. How can we share more? It's a nonprofit. We don't make any money. But with entrepreneurs, we said, if you start your business tomorrow, please sign a pledge. What's a pledge? It's easy. You will give 1, 2, 3, 10% of what you will be making in 5 years, in 10 years. But the minute you start it, you are committed and you're aligned. You will be working your ass off. You're working so hard. It will be so hard. You will have to make sacrifices. You know all this, entrepreneurs. Still, where is the commitment at some point? The commitment should start from the start. Should come from the start. That was Epic. And we have amazing entrepreneurs who have signed that pledge, hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs. And one day, maybe they will fail. One day, maybe they will be successful. I also want to mention the next Olympic Games. I'm a board member at Paris 2024 and one of the ambassadors. And very similarly, we want 7 years ago when I joined them, we said, let's do maybe the Olympic Games with a different kind of flavor. And how can we embed social good within the biggest event in the world, sport event in the world? And they are doing so many great things. I just want to mention one as a product called the Stand for Good. What it is, we bought a ticket last few weeks. We bought some tickets, Paris 2024. No complaint, was not easy. Okay, but you can still buy tickets. But if the ones who have been buying tickets, at the very bottom of it, you can add €2. And it's a Stand for Good. Those €2 will be pooled, will be used by Secours Populaire. And this money will buy tickets for people who never go to the stadiums, not because they don't like sports, because they don't have the means. And that's what we can do. But we have been doing it at scale, 13 million tickets. And the goal is now every time, or if you know anyone with venues, stadiums, it should be there. It's the product. And that's what we are trying to achieve. More and more product will help us to change this world. I'm already late. So that's the kind of world we all want to live in, let's be clear. So I don't want to just paraphrase what I said here, but let's be clear about what we see. We need to challenge us, maybe for entrepreneurs here, this is the most important one. Let's challenge every day what we see. If you don't like what you see, we are the kind of change makers. You are the change makers. We are people. We have everything. And sometimes you grew up, and I grew up in a world where everything was coming from the very top. It is no longer true. Let's be very honest. We can change a lot of things because we are, with our credit card in the pocket. And last one, those in power, I just mentioned them, the one at the very top. I'm just saying that, they are clearly essential in our world. But let's also push and trying to get this served for the common good. And I will end with one word, and that's the word I've used, and that's the one we'll all just sharing just the alignments, is be aligned. So we have to do things, and that we think is important, is the Apple discussion of earlier. So please, let's be aligned, and let's see that we can change things. At ChangeNOW, it's pretty easy to understand it. Thank you so much